Welcome back to the Frith Podcast. I'm your host, Eric.
And I'm co-host Scott.
And today we're going over chapters 36 through the end of Mimic Arcanus. And if you're watching this on the day that it airs, it is New Year's Eve. So I do hope everybody has a happy New Year's. And hopefully your New Year's resolutions, if you make them, go well for you this year. And with that, we'll get into chapter 36, Dream Meeting. So Grey gets to class early to ask Helmith for information on the Abyssal Dragons. And Helmith she wants to see his dreams of talking with the Death Lord, because obviously this is a really weird question to bring up in the middle of nowhere. So she's like, oh, okay, well, can I see that? What happened? Because I feel like this is kind of important. Helmith does mention that she will continue to guard his dreams, especially from Deimos. I feel like we're kind of having a repeat of the Academy Arcanus, when, before he actually came to the academy. In Professor Wren's class, we have them grinding up a cult ore with mortar and pestle, and we learn some more information about these Magic-born runes. They're getting some physical labor out of these kids. Not only do they have to go collect ore, now they're having to grind it up.
To make get the tattoos. They're for the other classes to use.
Kudos to, I know Adelvis has got to find ways to cut some corners here, make chunk costs go down a little bit. Dang. We learn about how these tattoos take up physical space on the body, and the body can only hold so much magic to move with. And then once the tattoo is done, it cannot be improved upon. You can't use it or practice it, get better with it. Whatever your abilities are at that point is essentially it. Unless you get more Magic-born red tattoos. I do wonder if the cult ore grew where plague blood was infected plague blood fell.
It kind of seems that way. It's not explicitly stated, but that was what I assumed as well. It was somehow related to the plague, because that's how they originally got the tattoos, was where they were infected with the plague. So I was like, it makes sense the cult ore was also infected plague something that then transformed into it.
Right. So I wonder if that's what the thought was behind it. Shammy! I'm still trying to figure out what kind of runes that I would want. Because again, I've got myself tattoos. I love tattoos. I feel like because of the dragon, tattoo dragon I have, I think some speed on land would be absolutely amazing, or the ability to camouflage myself better.
Some way to move outside of the water.
Yes. And I'm sure Ekrid could move if he needs to on land. However, he's not going to move like a Whiteheart or a Unicorn Arcanus would. So
I just picture his flippers just plop, 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 plop.
Like a sea lion or a seal.
Yes, I know he's probably a little more athletic than a seal, but that feels like a good little waddle that he can do.
Exactly.
We get to chapter 37, True Beauty. So the Cotillion is drawing very near. We're actually going to take the Gates of Crossing to get there. Everybody is getting dressed up, and Soren even wants Nini's opinion on his fit. So the trust in that relationship is already at an astounding level, so major props to them for that. They end up traveling to this tropical bay. There are full-grown typhoon dragons, so we thought Ekrib was big. These are massive.
Got goose pimples when they were talking about the creature under the water being the typhoon dragon. Oh my gosh.
I know, it's so cool. And as everyone is exiting, we do find out that Exi absolutely balled out. Her and Soren are top notch. She is the one that everyone is looking at. She is drawing all the eyes. Girl knows how to work it. You can go.
And in chapter 38, the Kross Cotillion, Grey steps up to hand his invitation in. Regardless of whether I knew that this invitation was real or not, I would still be staying there oh God, hope this isn't fake. Hope this isn't fake.
Rourke absolutely just screws him over and gave him just a piece of paper with his name on it.
It's in crayon and
I am 12.
Oh Lord. So we find Gray is on a mission to find this piece of the gates of crossing that is there. There's a fragment somewhere here. He has to find it. He does not want to rub elbows with anybody, and he's just like, I'm on my freaking mission. Twain does make a solid point that there are several other arcanists there that could, maybe be looking for this instead of Gray, and maybe Gray could be like, hey, I heard there's this really dangerous thing that we should probably take care of and look for it nonchalantly, and so that way he's not looking for it. He's also the one that would cause it to activate to begin with, so the whole him looking for it, trying to find it, would potentially cause more problem.
He needs to just draw a circle in the sand and just be like, I'm not leaving this spot. I really hope the waiter comes close by. Yeah.
He's walking around a corner, he hears a few arcanists talking and starts dropping eaves on Valo and is sizing him up for how big of a tool he is, because him and the other two arcanists are the classic definition. He being a mimic arcanist, decides he's going to have Twain get changed into a Typhoon Dragon himself. So he does a very good job at injecting himself into the conversation, and as a Kross member, just basically like, oh, look at me. Like, oh, you don't know me? Oh, man. He also realizes that Ashlyn has not made an appearance yet because Valo makes a comment about how he's dishonored because she hasn't come to see him. I don't know why she would anyways. Gray ends up using his threads to find Ashlyn, kind of like a beacon, where the Sheikah sensor when you're playing Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. So he finds her at the end of a pier, which makes sense. Agrib is a Typhoon Dragon. He likes to be in the water. So Gray is absolutely stunned on how she looks in her dress, and the description is amazing. Thank you, Shammy. And he even convinces Ashlyn to dance with him, even though, like, in the process of him trying to convince her, he realized that he, in fact, does not know how to dance either. Of course, as they're having, like, their moment, everything gets ruined.
Chapter 39 is the Midnight Depths Kraken, and the Kraken ruins it. It is this giant, absolutely massive, misshapen Kraken. It definitely gives off plague vibes. It's not plague infected, no longer a thing, but gives off that sort of kind of mutated, misshapen form. There is tons of lightning evocation, so of course, a lot of Typhoon Dragons, a lot of lightning, a lot of people trying to take this thing down. It does evoke this paralyzing fear magic, which is pretty devastating across the board. We do realize that the Kraken came from the Hells, so this fragment that Gray was looking for was likely similar to the Gate of Crossing, allowed this Kraken to come through. Gray decides that the best way to handle this is to transform into the strongest creature there, which is Septimus, who is Ashlyn's dad's Typhoon Dragon. He wants to save the people who are trapped in the amphitheater. A man does appear holding the gate fragment and makes a comment about wanting to be the new Seven. So Seven, again, was one of the cultists who helped Professor Zane. So, cultists coming again, trying to free the Death Lords. We do... Go ahead.
Do you think Seven is like Dr. Evil's number 2?
It feels that way. It definitely feels that way. We do absolutely obliterate this dude with lightning, so he is no longer going to be the 7. He is definitely out of that. And we do also end up getting attacked by this very angry water sprite because we killed off the sprite's arcanist.
And chapter 40 picks up Vivigol, Silencer of the Damned. Up until this point in time, we've been fighting, we've been doing our thing, holding our own. Had a moment where we're getting kind of messed up. This sprite does actually almost kill him. At this moment in time is when Fane's like, okay, I guess I should probably step in now. Like, bro, where have you been? Gray is trying to figure out which is the best possible creature to turn into. He ends up picking the unicorn to regain his stamina and give himself some confidence. He does use some of his controlling abilities with his emotions, so that it is not that bad or a weak of a power or ability. Freaking Novak and Starling have to stop being so upset about being tier 2. Bane takes off to go get Soren. He tells Gray that he is going to stay right there and not go anywhere. So he draws a circle around him now, saying, okay, you have to stay here. And once Gray had absorbed all of that fate fragment, it gives him a lot less control over himself, and he actually starts to talking, not his own words. Like, his voice is being used, but it's not his words. So he's just like, we're gonna leave now. Bye. It's starting to feel like this is getting to be a point where it feels like it's all planned. So he ends up on the ship, and we find out that this ship is full of Deathlord Deimos's cult followers. And Gray is sitting there trying to fight with Deimos, trying to kind of regain control. Deimos is like, nah, bro, this is not your battle. I will win this game. He throws Novak and Starling off of the ship because they're trying to escape too. And poor Novak and Starling get just thrown off of it. And they don't know what's going on because, again, this is all Gray, it looks like. Deimos does threaten Gray that he's going to shred his mother's soul if he doesn't just go with the flow of things and let Deimos do his thing. So Gray just kind of accepts that, goes with it. He does become forced back to the academy. They sail through the gates of crossing there. As he is going through the academy, he runs into Nazbit, who is on his way. And as Gray is trying to talk to Nazbit's doing that, like, this isn't normal. And the whole time, Deimos is like, don't you dare, like, tell him anything or, alert him to what's going on. And Nazbit's just like, oh, okay. I'm just going to keep going then. And so we get to Adelgis's office, the headmaster's office. We find out that we are actually going for the trident that is named Vivigol, Silencer of the Damned. And I have to admit, that is a very big mouthful of things to say. And I wonder, like, if there's any kind of acronym, or, can we call it Viv or V or Vived?
There's got to be something. I'm going through them. Like, the acronym doesn't work. I kind of like Vivi or Viv or something like that.
Like, I love saying it because it's a badass name, but it's just a long name.
It's very long. We get into chapter 41, Traps and Games. So Nazbit did catch on. He ends up bringing Professor Wren and Professor Helmith. Wren uses webs, but unfortunately the trident's a little too strong. There's kind of this back and forth, but we are able to eventually see Wren use his tattoos, which is pretty cool. He shoots out his webs, then uses his fire tattoos, probably coming from his dad, to light the webs on fire, which is just an awesome moment in terms of, like, strategy. And he talks about synergy between your magic and your tattoos, and that is a moment of just, like, pure synergy of, I don't have any offensive weapons, but I'm going to transform what magic I do have into a flamethrower, essentially. Unfortunately, we do absorb a few more fragments, so this is only going to give Deimos more control. Wren does end up kind of transforming the webs into metal, gets him trapped, but doesn't realize that he can also evoke magic through his mouth, and Wren is taken out. Helmith...
I think that gives him a sore throat.
It's got to do... It can't feel good.
Right. Like, coming out of the palm, like, okay, your hands are pretty well calloused over probably, but, like, through your throat, like a fire-breathing dragon, like,
I'm thinking, like,
I feel like it would hurt a little bit.
Alcohol burns, like, I can't imagine pure magic.
Right.
Helmith does end up confronting him, so she uses her runes to create barriers. She kind of charges him, which seems like a really odd move. She gets stabbed by the trident. Obviously, Deimos is pretty good with Vivi, so he catches her pretty strongly. But kind of what he doesn't realize is she just needs to touch him. So it's kind of whoop, and you go to sleep.
First off, I love Vivi. I think that's what we're going to go with.
Go with Vivi. I was
Vivi.
testing it out. I had to give it a test run.
I like Vivi. And again, like you say, with the just like, boop. This is where chapter 42 picks up with hopes and dreams. We are now in a dreamscape that is pretty sketch feeling, like especially with having Helmith being the one creating it. It feels pretty desolate and not very friendly. Shammy makes a lot of references to Helmith being barefoot and that she has an ankle bracelet. And Shammy, if there's a story behind that, and maybe you possibly could walk to maybe make a second King's Fables and put that story in there about what the ankle bracelet's about, I feel like that's kind of important, the amount of times you've mentioned it. Just saying.
What is it, Chevrov's gun or something like that?
Right.
If you mention an ankle bracelet, it must be used.
Words mean things in books, okay? They put words in there for a reason.
They do. And that word's come up a lot.
Right. Except for when they say the door is red. They don't mean the door is red because there's a specific reason behind why the door is red. It's just, maybe it's just the door is red. That's the color they like.
It looked cool.
I digress. We find out the soul fragment is being manifested in the dream, so we have Deathlord Deimos there in the flesh. Helmith ends up trapping his limbs in vines and flowers and an array of butterflies. I feel like this is the very flower power to it. And then he kills him with a noxious gas. Like, how rude. The battle keeps going back and forth between the two. Deimos is getting the upper hand, and then she does, and then he does, and she does, and he does, and she does. He ends up hitting Ushi with a blast of raw magic, causing his shell to crack. Helmith says that she will fight with Deathlord Deimos for 5,000 years and never let Deimos have Grey. And even though, as I'm saying this, it's giving me goosebumps, talking how adamant she is about protecting Grey. Her magic is also starting to fade as she is dying from her wounds in the waking world, and even Deathlord Deimos knows this. And with her last statement of protecting Grey no matter what, we begin to see Ushi transform into his true form. And this is such a wild true form ability, or true form transformation, as Ushi has the spiral shell head of a whelp, has a long body of a serpentine dragon, has talons of eagles, face of a cat, and the tail of a lion, and it's all translucent skin, fur, scales, whatever, shell. And honestly, when I first read the description, I thought about SpongeBob SquarePants and how Gary became all-knowing. He had a body.
So it's a very, very apt description.
I mean, if you don't read the rest of the description, that's what I think about. And then when I read the rest, I'm like, okay, this is Gary Boy. We see that Helmith traps Deimos in another prison that he is unable to break from. And she says that you may be a master of death, but I am a master of dreams, and nothing will work here unless I allow it to work. I love that line.
It's a great line.
It is amazing.
Chapter 43 is Abyssal Ties. Deimos is no longer taking hold of the body, so the prison seems to be preventing him. The gate fragments are on the table. Grey is woken up. He now has gold metal wrapped around his arm, which he realizes is Vivi. He's kind of messing around. Vivi seems to have absorbed some of the mimic magic, so she can kind of transform based on what he wants, so turns it into a broom, which is kind of funny. Leave it in the corner, hope the janitor doesn't get it. My first thought was turn it into a blender.
Oh my gosh, yes.
The headmaster does enter, and with him is a trash dragon. Love me some trash dragon.
Yay!
This is Dr. Dune. So, Dr. Dune is there. The trash dragons have the Relic Keeper's magic can hold things in stasis. So, the idea is if they can't destroy the magic, the Relic Keeper 1 probably has a good idea of understanding it. But if not, then it is able to at least hold it in stasis so it's not affecting.
Yep.
We do kind of learn a little bit more about everything that has happened. So the Welks, as we can guess, their true form is really kind of based on hope. So it is a with Helmith defending Grey, giving kind of that never-ending hope. It's really based, kind of sadly, on their trial of worth. They come from children who are drowning in the ocean, who are not losing hope. So it is based on those children's kind of hopes living on. So little touchy-feely there, but very cool. Luckily, everyone is okay. So Novak, Starling have recovered. Ren is going to recover as well. Helmith is alive, if a little worse for the wear. Soren does arrive. He's good. He is excited to see Grey, and as Grey is kind of exploring the various threads of magic, he notices he can find the Relic Keeper. He can find, the Nightmare. He can find Ushi. And unfortunately, he can still find the Abyssal Dragon. I know, it's such a cliffhanger.
Dang it, Shammy. We're going to keep reading regardless, okay? But with that ends Mimic Arcanist. We will pick back up with the next book in the series.
Abyssal
Arcanist.
I have it written down. I had to check, but I did write it down for that reason.
I hate the fact that I have it right behind me because of like. Anyways, we will continue with Abyssal Dragon come the new year. Also, we should be having a new release of the last book in the series, I think, some point here in the near future. So we'll be keeping our fingers crossed for that. And I know we're still kind of in limbo with the bestiaries, but again, I know it's going to be well worth it. We'll have our Nickelodeon plushies soon.
Oh.
But with that, Scott, do you have anything else you'd like to add today?
No, excited for the next book in the series.
All right, with that, I hope you guys have a good one.